Okay, this is the last of this Tropical Storm Marie, and I continue to believe that this visible satellite mode is basically fake. Earlier this morning there was a big swirling low pressure down here, and that has now been completely destroyed. Let's have a look. So here you can see this thing it's obliterated. It had a nice round shape and really good counterclockwise circulation. It was trying to build, so they used the Baja Haarp to break this up today. And now that this is broken up, they've gone back to the remnants of this Tropical Storm Marie. And I just have to zoom in on this because this is a really upsetting thing to see. Here we see that Mother Nature is trying to turn counterclockwise, trying to build this back up as a low pressure. And you can see these little wispy arms coming off trying to build a counterclockwise low pressure. But what do we have right here in the center? We have the Haarp downburst. They're downbursting this right here because look at this clockwise movement. This right here is being downbursted. And what this reminds me of is John Carpenter's The Thing, where when the German Shepherd dog is sticking out of the big alien after it pops up through the floor. That's exactly the kind of evil thing that we're looking at here. Something that's anti-life and anti-nature. But this is a hideous thing to look at. It's a good symbol for this whole program, because here's Mother Nature trying to spin up a new storm, and that's the most efficient way to cool the water and get this water vapor up into the air, and then take that water vapor over to the west coast and dump it where all the plants and animals need it. And instead you have this tiny group of very corrupt psychopaths, and they're using this technology to send this dry air downburst right here. And so I just think that's a hideous thing. It looks to me just like John Carpenter's The Thing. Does that not look like a disgusting, unnatural formation? Yes, and there's a lot more going on in this water vapor mode picture. A lot of geoengineered aerosols going on up here. They're fan-shaped. Let me zoom in. And this is being done, well, for a few reasons, but let me see if I can put some color on and make it look a little stronger. Okay. Now these fan-shaped aerosol trails have the purpose of, over here there's greater coverage, so there's more of a hot air layer aloft, so that will inhibit a low pressure building here more than on this side. Okay, so that's what they're doing here. They're building a hot air gradient in the jet stream to prevent any low pressure from building right here. And also, if we go over here, we can see just heavy chemtrails going into, these are all chemtrails right here, geoengineered aerosols, and those smear out, and where do they go? They go straight into Washington State and Oregon. And so you folks in the Pacific Northwest, when you look at the sky and everything's silver and hazy and everything's dying and poisoned, this is what's doing it right here. Okay? Really just massive, huge amount of aerosols being sprayed up there. Another thing to look at on this map is north of Hawaii we have this low pressure trying to build here. And I predict that this will be smashed and gone by the morning. This is a nice, it's trying to build its counterclockwise rotation. And these chemtrails here are, well, if they want to kill this, they're going to chemtrail on this side so that it feeds in and creates that hot air layer up on top to stop the convection. But also the Baja Haarp is going to burn this thing tonight. So let me go back to gray. Yeah, actually you can see the chemtrails a little better this way. So we can see this part here is kind of, it's not wanting to spin, it's kind of turning to the right, whereas this part right here is trying to spin to the left. Okay, so it just goes on, and I'm really sick of looking at this. But and I also hate being right all the time. I would love to be wrong about some of this. If anybody can prove me wrong about any of this, please do so. But it just turns my stomach to see this thing here. This is like a science fiction nightmare, and it just reminds me of John Carpenter's The Thing. Here's Mother Nature trying to do one thing, and these psychopaths are preventing Mother Nature from doing that which is necessary for life to continue. And these guys think they are going to buy their own private paradise in Fiji and retire there and have white sand for scenery. We need to change that just a little bit and have them looking at white concrete and steel bars instead of white sand. I think it's definitely doable, but first people have to realize this stuff is actually going on. But, you know, it's just really remarkable. This thing was huge, spinning counterclockwise and building strength. But look how close to California that is. They could not permit that to build up. And so they went all out today and destroyed it. And so it's been basically 12 hours since that was a nice circular rotation. And now it's disorganized. And it's not rotating anymore. It's just absolutely amazing, the amount of power involved. And I'm telling you folks in San Diego, you're living right next to a giant nuke. This has an enormous nuclear power plant on there, and you know, it's not going to have any of the civilian safeguards that we're accustomed to with our incredibly dangerous civilian nuke program. Look, you guys are just downwind of this thing. Doesn't that give you a warm fuzzy? But that thing has been running 100% power now for days and days. Isn't that just great? Go back to visible mode, and you know, it is getting dark on the west coast, but all this stuff is just very fishy. And if we look in visible mode, we do not see the John Carpenter nightmare here. We just don't see it. You know, how the heck can that be? But we do see these clouds blowing off to the northeast, when supposedly all this other stuff is going the opposite direction. How does that happen? If we look at the surface pressure map, well, then they're not covering out west very well. In fact, they call it an L here, and the big swirl here is not present on the surface map anymore. And a jet stream, they're not showing anything here. Oh, look. They have one little tiny L here where that big swirl was. But it's not existing anymore. It's just the computer saying, huh? Huh? And then this H here may have actually been where the, I'm sorry, can't see. And this H down here may have actually been where the Haarp downburst was directed, so that that dry air fed on top of this swirl and stopped the, oh gosh. Anyway, if anybody can show any of this is wrong, please do. I'd love to be wrong. That's just the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Just the most horrible and disgusting thing. California legislature, what are you waiting for? You're going to wait until, I mean, literally, what are you guys waiting for? Why isn't this being investigated? So, you know, call up your legislator and start bugging them. What else can you do at this point? Well, believe me, there's a lot we can do, and I'm going to be making some videos telling people what they can do and how they can do it step by step. I think that's, I mean, complaining doesn't mean anything. Zip, zero, complete waste. In fact, they want you to complain because that's the, what do they call that? That's the little steam pop off that people can complain and blog and take videos and stuff, and they feel like they've done something when you've done nothing. What we need is scientific proof, and that means something. One little guy making a measurement is better than 1,000 people complaining. Okay? So empower yourselves. Begin to make measurements, and that's of the ultraviolet and possible radiation in these geoengineered aerosols, and also, well, I've said over and over, people need to have a little cheap spectrum analyzer and look at this Haarp radio wave. It's so powerful you can't miss it. There's many, many things we can do, and we've got to start covering that stuff in detail. And I'm just utterly disgusted. Is that not a monster? It's a monstrosity. Okay, hey, thanks for watching.